My name is Educated, aka I Can't Spell, aka Paulo. I am at. God, but you smirked in this smirky way, and now I messed up our intro. Look at this, episode 18, and we're first mess up intro. This is Kieran, and he screws up our intros, also known as Dark Jolteon.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
That smirk. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, I want to, I guess this week, we want to recap what happened last week and just kind of talk about options for the future, because there are only so many guests in the world, and we need variety and different things to do on the show, because the goal is 50 episodes by the end of this. No, that doesn't make sense. The goal is it 50 episodes by the end of this year?
Yes.
50 episodes by the end of this year. That is our goal. So like December 2014.
Something like that.
Yeah, 50 episodes.
Yes.
Now, obviously, I don't know if we'll be ever doing another 24-hour stream, but I mean, you can.
My body says no.
Yeah, it's a great cause. We would raise a lot of money for Young Minds again, but I don't know. I mean, Kieran, Young Minds actually reached out to you, right? And they are. I don't know. It's very tempting, and
yeah. It looks like there is the potential for us to get sort of properly integrated, sort of make it almost like an official connection, I guess. I haven't heard back from them yet, but they are making a big blog post on their website and stuff about the stream, and that's why me and Paolo spent nearly an hour trying to get a picture of the two of us.
You can see the picture.
Took embarrassingly long.
It is on. I know we haven't shared it with anyone. Let's find it. Let's find it.
Yeah, we put it on Twitter, but that's it. Okay, so we've got to show everyone the picture. And bearing in mind, we were in a meeting, or the meeting thing we use for nearly an hour, and it was the best we could get.
Yeah, you find it right. Just post it in the chat. No, I like that, Mr. Do you like that? The idea that we could just have a random follower be a guest on the show.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, it would have to depend, timings and stuff. Like we wouldn't want to have a follower commit to having a follower on only for them to have the worst mic quality known to Jesus. But
okay, let's say we do it right now. Let's say we do it right now. Let's see who would become
right now.
Oh, Slice! He would be our random follower on this show. Congrats, man. Would you like to? No, for episode 20, we were thinking of... What is this? There's this weird light. Okay. For episode 20, we were thinking of actually having all of our old guests back on. We would just extend the invitation for every single guest who has ever come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
And I believe that the rest of the conversation went alcohol and strippers, but that probably won't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, Slice, we would have you on 3 times. I think, we'll the invitation is extended for episode 20 to Slice and to, who else?
Dr. Hoolittle.
Dr. Hoolittle.
Sith Bash, Chopper.
Grill. Nick, Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, no, better idea. No, I was just thinking about it. We could just start every episode like this, and then just wait for who shows up, and then we just put it in the the chat, and whoever wins gets to come on. That would be interesting.
Maybe. I mean, we're still in talks with the people who were supposed to be our surprise guest for the 24-hour stream to try and get them on, but it's still ongoing discussions, which are going a little bit slowly. I mean, they're on tour at the moment, and so they're incredibly busy. But we're trying to sort of expand, get sort of actual big name guests. Like
I would love to have Nukem
maybe
on.
one.
I would love to have Nukem on.
Yeah, definitely.
Nukem, you're available. You're free to come whenever. I mean, that's good. Let's see who else we're in. Let's see who else. And the winner is Liz. Liz is another one who we haven't had on the show, actually.
Yeah.
I would love to have you, Mr. Curry, on our show. That would be fun too. And basically anyone from the stream would be great. We could just. The only issue with that is
all our regular viewers.
we wouldn't have anyone watching the stream because all the viewers would be against the stream.
Just be it wouldn't so much be Across the Pond podcast as Across the Pond just hanging out.
Did you see what Nukem posted in the chat? I am here all the time, just like Jesus. I push my way into your lives. All right. Well, we're just gonna no comment that for fear of inciting a YouTube riot. Speaking of YouTube riots, Avril Lavigne's new music video.
Yes.
This
is something I wanted to talk about.
That is causing a YouTube riot.
That is causing the biggest stir I've ever seen. Like the way I understand if something has gone sort of into the realms of into the realms of the crazy people, the fedoras, and those sort of people. I have people that I'm friends with on Facebook. When they start moaning about something, shit is going bad. And like they were posting about the Avril Lavigne music video, and it was hilarious to watch because they were getting so crazy over it. Like, how she's being so racist towards Japan, and how she's pronouncing all the words wrong, and it's just.
All right. Well, I won't show it on stream, but I'll get it for people to watch.
Yeah, we don't want to get butt raped for copyright. But it's very controversial. Like me and Paolo, we both like it. We do. But it seems a lot of other. It's got more controversy surrounding it than How I Met Your Mother finale.
The official video was removed off.
Yeah, it was removed the day it was posted.
It was removed today.
After 10 minutes.
I saw it today. I saw it today on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Must have been put back up. But yeah, it was removed after 10 minutes, and then.
Yep. Dang. All right, guys. Yeah, you probably haven't seen. Hold on. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's the video. Here we go, guys. Enjoy this. But honestly, okay. Here's how I see it. I need to turn on my light. 1 second.
Waiting on how he sees it. That light is making literally no difference. He's trying his best.
Okay, the way I see it is that you either hate the song because it's a terrible song. I mean, I enjoy the song. It's catchy. It's funny. Liz and I actually had a conversation about this today. But the song itself is you either hate it or you love it. It's just one of those songs. And then on the other hand, you could just really enjoy it. But the video, to say the video was racist and offensive, I think that's a little far.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me bring up my Twitter because there was something that Avril actually tweeted about the video that really just sort of made me laugh. It was sort of a response to all the people saying, she was racist and how offensive to Japan she was being and stuff. And I've got to find it now. I thought I retweeted it, apparently not.
Okay, I have AIDS now. If you read the comments on the original video, those will give you AIDS. Yeah,
definitely.
You're definitely welcome. Vid AIDS.
But what she said was she loves Japanese culture. She spends half her time in Japan. She shot the video in Tokyo specifically for her Japanese fans with her Japanese label, Japanese choreographers, and a Japanese director in Japan. If that's racist towards Japan, then...
And it was fun. Japan likes fun things. Japan likes weird things, Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a very Japanese video.
Liz says racist, LOLOL. Yeah. That's fine. And then B. Jexter, of course, makes the greatest comment. Everything without a wrecking ball in it is okay for me. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
That video was traumatizing, by the way. Hannah Montana, completely naked on a wrecking ball. Never thought that would happen.
Terrifying.
What's up? Oh, hi, it's Mikey. Hello, hello. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you not like it because it's just really, really bad? Or do you think it's offensive in some way? There's just a difference. I mean, it's okay with liking. I mean, there are plenty of songs that everyone hates. And that is my question. Do you like the song, Kieran, right?
Yeah, I hated it when I first heard it, but like, because I would just play the album on repeat when it first came out, and it was just the first few times I was like, I don't like the song at all. But then when you listen to it a couple of times, it just starts getting stuck in your head, gets really catchy, and by the third or fourth listen, I was dancing along to it, singing. It's just a great song.
Not enough.
Like, you know, a song is just.
Not enough racism in the vid for Nukem, of course.
I find it difficult to call it racist. Like,
it's
the fact is, it's
very
accurate. Yeah, it's very stereotypical, but it is very accurate of stereotypical Japanese culture. Like, let's be honest. You see so many Japanese music videos that are similar to that, and it's just.
That is a good point, Mr. Curry, about the K-pop audience. You know how big K-pop is these days? Jeez.
It's crazy.
It's so catchy,
but the thing is, yeah, I was looking some stuff up about Avril, and her biggest audience isn't actually America or
Really?
Britain or Canada or one of the main countries. It is Japan. That's where the most of her audience comes from, which is probably a good explanation why she wanted to do something for Japan, given that most of her fan base is there.
What if she just... Okay, bear with me. What if he just turns into this Japanese singer? Like, she learns Japanese, all her songs are fluent in Japanese. How crazy
That'd be badass. That'd be amazing.
That would be pretty great, not gonna lie. As appropriation. Yep, American culture is an appropriation of every single other culture in the world. And if you guys don't know what appropriation is, it's basically just taking someone's culture without their permission and passing it off as kind of your own. It's like culture stealing, you know? it's just a weird thing. I guess it's the best way to explain it. Hello, Conway. Welcome. I don't know. What do you think?
It's a massive overreaction. Like, I watched the video and just thought, like, this is cute as fuck. Like, it's just a really cute video, and it's just to call it racist. Like, there are much more racist things out there, and
completely.
Like, in the funny Facebook trend thingy that they've introduced that nobody looks at, like, Avril Lavigne has been the top trend for like the last 3 days, and it's just ridiculous how that can be getting so much attention. Like, I've never seen Avril Lavigne trending in the last year or so. Even when she released a new album and stuff, like, she wasn't trending, but she releases one music video that is a little bit weird, and it's just crazy. Like, I don't understand how. Okay, bear with me here, because this is slightly weird. I don't understand how that video is racist, how Hello Kitty is racist, but a video such as, like, Gangnam Style is genius and artistic, and, like...
Avril is 29. She released her first album when she was 16.
It still shocks me, like, 29? Really? She's been
29.
around since forever. The thing is, she still looks the same as she did when she was 16.
That's true. Cute, really. My cat is cute. This was pure AIDS on a stick wrapped in candy, waiting for some young noob cake to take a bite. The eloquence of Nukem, everyone.
Yes, very, very good. Anyway.
Avril is like a child. I think that's... she has this, like, fountain of youth thing going for her, you know? And that's always going to be her audience.
The thing with Avril is, she doesn't seem to give a crap what anybody thinks. It's like, yes, she's released this really controversial video, and yes, she's married to the dude who's the lead singer of Nickelback, which in itself is a pretty bad claim, but to be honest, she just gets on with it, and she does what she wants to do, and I think people need to stop really, just sort of, they focus on the things that are weird. Like, she's a very talented musician, she's been very successful, but they don't focus on that. They focus on the fact that she disappeared from public limelight, from, like, the forefront of the public, which, yeah, fair enough, but every band does that. There are so many bands that you'll suddenly hear people say, what the fuck, I didn't even realize they were still around and
Linkin
stuff. And just
Linkin Park. Every time.
Exactly. And I saw the same with My Chemical Romance when they released one of their albums, I don't know which, but people were like, I didn't even realize they were still around. At the same time, people didn't even realize they had 2 albums before they got famous. And so it was the same with Green Day. When American Idiot came out, they went huge. They were played on the radio all the time, and like that album just got huge plays. And nobody knew that Green Day were nearly, actually maybe even more than 10 years old when they.
In the 90s, yeah. No.
Yeah, it was like I think it was 90.
Nukem. Avril Lavigne used to be married to the guy from Sum 41, Derek Whibley, and that was during her like whole punk rock phase. You know, that's when everyone was like, "Oh, everyone who likes Avril is just a punk, angsty teenager." And then she like shifted her demographic, and she turned into like this princess rocker. And then she ditched Derek Whibley, and then she married Chad Kroeger, which is still a questionable decision. Also, hello, Mai. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome. As much as everyone has problems with Nickelback, I'm gonna say something that's gonna shock people here. Like, I don't think Nickelback are that bad. I honestly don't. I really like some of their songs are pretty good. And I will happily sit and listen to some of their songs. And the song that Avril did with Chad Kroeger on her new album, I really like it. I think it's a really nice song. So anyone
she married a Chad.
But anyone that has a really big problem with Chad Kroeger and Nickelback, just I don't care. I still listen to some of their music. I'm not ashamed to say it.
I don't think it's not. Okay, Nickelback isn't bad per se, but they just have. Like there is no musical variety. They are the same band. They have been like every single song is the same.
That's why I say some, because like I say some songs. Like I'll listen to some songs, but I won't listen to others because they are exactly the same, just slightly different. It's just.
Some girl I went out with when I was 19 used to play the songs on guitar. I allowed it. Nukem with his keeping his pimp hand strong.
Yes.
But I don't know. I guess most people in the chat just realized it was just not a good. Like it was not the most beautiful piece of music ever created. Not even by far. The Hello Kitty video.
Yeah, not even a little bit.
But it is. I don't know. I think it's silly. People overblow things on YouTube.
Definitely, yeah.
Like,
so... you'll see things like we've spoken about it before, like the power of YouTube and how, like, if one person gets a hold of
it's like everyone just goes on there to argue about one music video on one artist's song. That's it. That's all their comments, like discussions. You know, people who like have huge YouTube arguments and they last like the entire day. It's like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
if you want to, it's just ridiculous. Like, and what really annoys me is like that video will get so many views just from like the controversy and stuff, and then there are bands who release really good songs with really good videos, and they'll get no views, and then they'll look at something like the Hello Kitty video or like Gangnam Style or something and just go, how can that, something that musically isn't particularly amazing, the video is nothing special, and they get so many views when I do this big artistic piece and get fuck all. And it's just, it really is the big problem with YouTube. Like, they don't like artistic, like high quality stuff. They like stuff that's weird and controversial and crazy, and it's just, I feel like nowadays you're going to get further in the YouTube world if you have something that makes you different in a bad way than different in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you know, Gangnam Style almost is actually at almost 2 billion views. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, Liz is, you're right. You're right. That people always blow things out of proportion on the internet. Like, they're just huge arguments, and like, there's always that one guy on YouTube who is probably just some troll who goes and says something about a song or whatever, just being the reason for closed-minded young children or something like that, and they make some politically charged statement, and then it just starts into this giant argument that lasts for like 70 comments. Well, like, who's gonna stop that? I mean, that guy is at fault for being a dick, but aren't the people who respond even more at fault? You know, just, I don't know. People just don't understand how to ignore things, which is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, no one ignores anything anymore. My grandpa told me once that he hasn't made a single enemy in his life since he was like 25, and he's 80 now. And the reason he does it is just if he just doesn't like what someone is saying, he just walks out of the room. It's like no one does that. Like no one does that on the internet, and I don't know why. Like I'm really interested to hear some ideas on why people just can't get over the fact that
honestly,
it's a lot easier to ignore people on the internet.
Honestly, I think the reason that they choose not to ignore people on the internet is because they have to ignore people in real life. Like a lot of people I find that are trolls and hateful on the internet often are quite sort of reserved, shy, don't like getting into arguments in real life, and so they take it out on the internet when they think nobody can, I'm not going to get hurt out of this. What's going to come of it? Like, it's not like I can be punched through the face through the internet. As much as people want to be able to do that, it's not going to happen. So it's just sort of, I think that is, for a lot of people at least, obviously not everyone, some people are just dicks, but for a lot of people it is a case of they can't express that sort of argument and get that sort of attention in the real world, I guess, so they
you think people
do it online where,
like, for example, say there's a kid who may be quite intelligent, but because of whatever reason he just isn't successful in his school or work life. You think people can just troll around and look to get intellectual boners on the internet from beating down whoever, even if it's just as simple as like a YouTube comment,
Yeah, definitely. Like, people like throwing their weight around, and it's strange, like, because people find it so hard to do it in real life. Like, if you were to come up with a really unpopular opinion and you were to say something sort of controversial in real life, chances are you would get much less reaction from people in the real world than you would online. I honestly think it's just a case of people think they can get away with it online, so they do it because they can't do it in real life. And for a lot of people, I think it is a case of expressing themselves, I guess. They get angry at something in real life, I don't know, they get bullied at school, they're in a shitty job or something, and so they go on the internet, take out their anger, and it makes them feel better.
Okay.
Who knows? I guess we...
Question. Would you say that the majority of people on the internet... Okay, because everyone in our little chat here can probably claim that they've met some good people on the internet. They actually have internet friends. Maybe they consider them friends in their real lives. I mean, I know I do, but like, are we the minority? Because it feels like we've surrounded ourselves with so many really great people. I mean, like, almost probably nearly 75% of our donations came from people we know through the internet. Like, are we just lucky in that sense? Are we the minority, or do you think that the minority is in fact those people who are just really loud and whiny and complaining and just jerks in general?
No, I think we're the minority. I think to get the sort of tight-knit community that we're in is incredibly difficult. And we're really lucky that we're good friends with a lot of our viewers and stuff, and honestly, I think we are definitely the minority. There are people that go out there, they make friends online and stuff, but as much as I hate the Call of Duty community for the most part, there are sections of it, the sections that we came from, the section that most of our viewers came from, the section that CallOfDutyZombies.com came from, which is where we've met a lot of other people. That's sort of a different site. Well, I guess that's like the good side, but if you notice, if you were to go on just Googling stuff, you were to go on the Call of Duty official forums, you were to go on to other forums and stuff like that, like, it's completely different. You don't see people banding together as much as we do, because we had such a big group of friends on CallOfDutyZombies.com. Like, maybe not so much anymore because we've
all gone our separate ways.
Yeah, I guess so. But we had it was a big group, but it was really tight knit as well. And honestly, I think we were the lucky ones, because you have people that make friends on sites like Tumblr, and like even like in Reddit, music, things like that, in the cover community. I mean, I'm sure like the little sub communities, like, they all can't be as bad as like the big YouTube videos, if you know what I mean. I mean, there has to be a bunch of people who have made best friends with people they met online. I don't know. Definitely, but generally, I think you're more likely to find people that will make friends through something like gaming, like a common interest. Because stuff like Tumblr and Reddit, things like that, they do find people with common interests, but it's very difficult to interact. Whereas with online gaming, with something like Call of Duty, which is the example I was using earlier, obviously we could go on, we could game together, we could do 24-hour streams and make ourselves hate the game, and then we can spawn a podcast from it all. Like we came from zombies, and now here we are doing this podcast, and it's just something completely different. But yeah, I would say to an extent we're in the minority, but also to an extent in the majority, if that makes sense. Like I think the whole making friends online and stuff, a lot of people do that, and you'll find it in a lot of these like communities, I guess. But I think to be as tight knit and as sort of socially involved with each other as we are, that is definitely not something you see very often.
Here's another question though. Do you think it's uncommon, like, do you think there's a certain peer pressure to get really involved with an online community? Because I remember a long time ago I made a vlog just about making friends through the internet, making friends through different sites, and I know a couple of people commented saying that wasn't really what they were there for. They just kind of hung out and stuff. But is there a pressure that you just have to be really involved? Is there such a thing as just casually using YouTube or like casually watching Twitch? I don't think anyone can casually watch Twitch. Maybe it's possible.
Yeah,
but I feel like
the thing is, you're always gonna make friends. Like with YouTube, when you first start out YouTube, you get like your first few subscribers, and they're commenting on all your videos and liking all your videos. You automatically get some sort of attachment to them, and then you start talking to them. Maybe you start making friends with them. It just sort of happens. I think if you actively try to avoid it, you could. But if you actively try to avoid it, you're not going to get anywhere on something like YouTube. Let's be honest. It's a lot of YouTube is interaction with fans, stuff like that. But yeah, I think if you were to actively avoid it, then you could. But I just think it's just sort of a natural part. If you're gonna be in the game for the long haul, you're gonna make friends. You're gonna get into a community sort of thing. Maybe not as expansive as like if you were to do sort of music. Say it's not going to be as expansive as online gaming, because then you're performing, uploading it to YouTube, and then getting comments on how good it was, I guess. Whereas with something like gaming, you can interact a lot more,
play with people, and it's definitely one of the most rewarding things. I think it sucks people in. I think that's what it is. You know, you find a big channel that you like. I feel like it started like this with everything. You find a big channel that you like, and you comment on their videos, and then somewhere along the way, they kind of shout out someone else, or there's a related video with a smaller channel, and through that smaller channel you find people to connect with, and you end up gaming with people, and then you meet even more people. It's just kind of this cycle. It's very unavoidable, I think. If you just if you comment in the wrong place, or you just are around for something like a 24-hour stream, you could end up getting sucked into something that you can't really get out of.
I mean, let me put it this way, to sort of explain how that cycle goes. Like, I was looking up some like tips and stuff. Like, this is when I sort of dropped out of Pokemon for a little bit, and I was looking up some tips on one of the games. I don't remember which, but I was looking up some tips how to catch a certain Pokemon or something. And I was looking at these videos and stuff, and I did what I needed to do. And then I went back on YouTube sort of a week later just to browse stuff. Like, I was subscribed to one or two people at the time. I think one of them was Mr. Ruffle Waffles, who I knew from Call of Duty Zombies.com. And in the related video, like the recommended for you video box, I saw a video by the J Wits, his TCG card of the week or something like that. And I watched it. I enjoyed it. I started watching his other videos. I ended up subscribing to his channel. And from him, I'm now subscribed to a lot of other people. I subscribe to Rennick Alex, who he's engaged to. I'm subscribed to the Dex, who he did a collaboration with. And I'm subscribed to... I can't even remember other people, but I'm subscribed to a bunch of people just from subscribing to him, sort of thing. And it's sort of... To put it into perspective, like, I've now... Like, when I first started YouTube, for like the first year, I was subscribed to like 4 people. And now here I've got I'm subscribed to at least 30 or 40 people. And it's just... It really sort of... what Paolo said is right. It sucks you in. You end up finding people you never thought you'd find. And, like... as much as the people I interact with the most, that they're not people that I found by chance through YouTube.
Yeah.
They're people I found by chance stuff, I guess. But still, yeah, it's very weird how something can just sort of come together. Like, I found the J-Wits out of luck. I didn't even go to watch his videos.
Mhm.
It came up in the recommended videos, like, just because I watched something else on how to catch a Pokemon, and now I'm subscribed to a bunch of other people. It's just crazy.
Do you think we're relative to other people? Do you think we are in the deepest in like how deep do you think we are in compared to most people? Because I was just thinking about it the other day. Like, people know our real names. Like, they know what towns we live in. They know what schools we went to. Like, it is all there for people,
Yeah.
especially because of what we do with the charity event. Like, we really don't have any secrets, which leads me to say, like, how deep are we in this compared to other people? I know Nukem and Slice and Liz and all of these people in our chat are really involved in the online community and everything that goes with it, but I'm fairly sure that most people don't know their real names or have any connection to, where they may live or what they might have done in high school. But for us, it is all out there. And even people who make a living off YouTube, like, I don't think anyone knows Tom Syndicate's last. Well, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people do know Syndicate's last name, but it's just not it's not out there. It's not the forefront of what he does. It's not the forefront of what a lot of big name YouTubers do. I don't know. Are we weird in that sense that people know who we are? I don't know.
I don't think, and maybe you'll disagree with this, I don't think we're as far in as we used to be.
Okay.
During our sort of peak time on CallOfDutyZombies.com, I think we were probably, to a smaller audience, I guess would be the right word, we were further in with that small group of people than we are now, if that makes sense. But also, now, we're sort of out there to a wider audience. So I guess it sort of evens out in a way. It's quite strange, because I definitely feel like I'm not, other than people like you, people like Liz, I feel like I'm definitely not as close to as many people, but like as close as I used to be. But I'm definitely closer. I've definitely got more people that know more about me, if that makes sense. Like, because of things like YouTube, because of things like this show, and like I have a video that I uploaded that has over 2,000 views and got over 2,000 views in one weekend, and so many people know like this like big fact about me, and it's just really weird to think that. But at the same time, I know most of those 2,000 people only know that fact about me, and it's really strange. Like, because I know anyone that donated to the 24-hour stream will know my last name. Like, the page was in my full name. You needed a full name, so I just put my full name. And anyone that is relatively intelligent will know your full name and stuff. And luckily, nobody knows exactly where we live, because who knows?
Creepy.
I think people in our chat, they're gonna stalk us. Let's be honest.
Oh, of course. No, I'm really surprised that. Well, I guess just in the sense that most people who donated to us were older people or adults, so they wouldn't be the type of people to just like look someone up on Facebook and just add them. Because I mean, if anyone younger donated, I mean, I don't want to stereotype them, but we could be getting these.
There were a few younger people, but I think the youngest was maybe 14, 15 sort of thing.
For the most part,
Which...
it's interesting just because we just knew everyone who donated, really.
Pretty much, yeah. It was.
Other than our anonymous donation, who is still
yeah,
the hero.
yeah,
Still the hero.
Still anonymous. But yeah, I guess it's a strange feeling, because like I know so many people know so much about me, and there are a few people like you that know more about me than most people in my real life. Like other than like my immediate family and stuff, I'd say you know more about me than anyone affecting my real life. Like, admittedly, yes, we talk every day and stuff, but that's just really weird that someone on the other side of the planet, someone who I've never never technically met and stuff, and they know more about me, and I'm closer friends with them than I am with people who I see every single day and interact with every day at college and stuff like that, or at work and whatever. It's just really weird, but like really awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's strange.
Because
it's a strange situation we're all in.
Because you are more awesome than the people that I go to college with, and I hope none of them are watching right now because I'm gonna get crucified. But you're more awesome, and the people that watch the show, they're more awesome as well. But
how did we even get to this topic? We started talking about Hello Kitty with Ever Living. I don't know how we got here, and we were also talking about suggestions for the future shows, and I don't know where that went either. We kind of just started talking about random guests. But Nukem, yeah, if you are down to boogie on ATP 19 or ATP 20, just let us know, because we'll definitely make that happen. I can't wait, because I mean our 20th episode, like we were already almost at 20 episodes.
That's crazy.
I mean, we did have a month off. We've had a couple weeks off here and there for like Thanksgiving, for Christmas, New Year's, and I had vacation, and then we had that 1 week where we had to both take off. But other than that, we have really been on point. I don't know. It's been a long journey so far, and the road to 50 episodes starts now.
Definitely. I want to move us on to something a little bit more serious, because it's something we did. Obviously we talked about it. We talked about it last week with the show, but just to sort of expand on. Yeah, sort of to expand on the sort of things we talked about last week. There was a news story that was recently released about sort of, you know, mental health, illness, depression, the sort of thing we've been talking about a lot recently, and I really wanted to bring it up because it's a horrible story, and it's a 20-year-old who was jailed for stealing a phone, sort of petty theft sort of thing, and they were put in jail. They were only supposed to be in jail for, I don't know, I think it was a few months or something, maybe not even that, maybe a few weeks. But he had mental health issues, and the people who put him in jail and stuff, they knew about this. They were told about this, and they were warned, you need to keep an eye on him. You need to treat him properly because he has mental health issues. And basically what happened is they didn't take into account any of his mental health issues, threw him in a prison cell on his own, and 3 days later he was found hanged in his cell. Jesus. And it's really, I know we've talked about stuff like this a lot, but it really does sort of hit hard when something that you've personally gone through, personally suffered, gets so extreme. I guess gets to a point where it does end
now. You know,
definitely
people see it more now as a cry for attention than an actual problem.
Definitely.
And
I've been watching stuff on YouTube, reading up news articles, and the extent of it is so overwhelming and sort of under talked about. It's a really bad wording there, but it's something that we should be talking about all the time, and we're just not. And it's crazy. It's crazy the fact that we can just ignore the fact that people can be walking around every day, sort of considering things like suicide, thinking about taking their own life, thinking about something so dreadful. And just bear with me. There you go. So I just had to sort that out. Yeah. And yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous that we could just be ignoring something so serious. How there could be people walking around day to day with such big, deathly thoughts going on in their head. And who knows, there could be someone in our chat right now that is thinking about suicide, something that I did quite often, and I was walking around school and I was talking to my parents and stuff about just regular life things, and I was just at the same time thinking about these dreadful things about taking my own life and basically ruining my, well, not just ruining my life, you're sort of taking it away, but then ruining the life of the people around me. And it's just ridiculous that people could just be sort of ignoring it. And if we were to talk about it more, people would start to realize that thinking about suicide is not a bad thing. If you find yourself in a position where the prospect of ending your life appeals to you more than living, then that's okay. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't make you sort of a mental case. It makes you human. Like, everyone goes through moments in their lives where they feel depressed, where they feel bad, where they just don't feel like carrying on. And I've been there. I'm sure some of you have been there. And if you reach a point in life where you believe the quality is so low that death is favorable, where you live each day hoping, praying that the next day will be better, and then when it's not, you cry silently to yourself, wondering why you even bother waiting for the next day, then in a sense, that's a good thing, because you're recognizing that there is a problem. You're recognizing that something isn't right, that something needs to be changed. And when I first started out being honest about sort of what I went through, sort of being depressed, and when I considered suicide and stuff, I was begging for someone to get hold of my video, someone to see it and just think, I know, I've got influence, you know, someone big and influential could go, this is an awesome story, let's do something about it, let's start a revolution. And that wasn't acceptable. It's just not acceptable anymore, as Paolo's phone goes off.
Oh my god. All right.
And
good.
Okay, so yeah, it's not acceptable anymore to just beg that someone else can come in, take my story and make it big and do something about it. So instead, what we did last week, we did this amazing stream. We raised money, and we raised a lot of money for a great cause. And the money we raised could potentially save somebody's life. That's how big it is, that we could have saved somebody's life. And that's just absolutely mind-blowing. And not doing anything about it, it's just not acceptable anymore. And when the leading cause of death among new mothers in the first year after childbirth is suicide, that's not acceptable. And when almost a quarter of all 15 to 25-year-olds who die in any way die because of suicide, that's not acceptable. And when the leading cause of death among men under the age of 31 is suicide, again, it's not acceptable. And when people as young as 7 years old, mere children, find themselves considering suicide on a daily basis, it's just terrible. And when we as a society do nothing about it, to educate young people about mental health, to teach them that it's okay, and that if you're going through something like that, then you can talk to someone, you can do something about it, it's just ridiculous. And when we as a society fear talking about mental health, we are literally scared of it. Like, we look people in the eye, of the people suffering with depression, with anxiety, people considering suicide, and we look them in the eye and we turn our backs and pretend that it's not our problem, that we don't need to talk about it. And that is not acceptable. And for anyone listening right now, whether it's while we're live, while we're on YouTube, or after, or in the distant future in 100 years when it's just a distant memory, if you're thinking about suicide, then that's good. Keep thinking about it. And then start talking about it. And then start doing something about it. And for those of you who might be contemplating suicide, I know somewhere deep down you must feel some hope inside of you. Something telling you to keep fighting, to never give in. Fight on for that next day. And I know you feel it because I felt it too. Keep that hope alive. Because we need you. We need you to be alive, to join us in the conversation, to join us in the fight, to get people talking about mental health, about suicide. We need you to show the world that people who suffer with mental health conditions are not weak, we're not crazy, we're not to be ignored. We're human and we are in pain and we need help. Help that so far people have not been getting, and people are trying to avoid giving because it's not something that is considered socially acceptable, because it's something that is considered attention seeking, something that is not considered to be normal. And trust me, if you're anything like I was, having that conversation, getting involved in that fight for what is right, that will keep you alive. because it will show you who you truly are, and you're a beautiful human being with a bright future, a lifetime of happiness to come, and somebody out there who loves you, even when you find it hard to see it within yourself. And we need people like you to lead the fight every single day, like it's the last day you'll ever live. And I will not be content with life and what goes on in it until everybody out there in this vast world can look me in the eye as a human being, as an equal, and know that I am not my past, I am not my depression. Until they can look me in the eye and talk about mental health the same way they can talk about any other illness, I will not be happy, and I will keep fighting until mental health is given the same attention as every other illness out there. That's it. I'm done.
I would seriously consider ending the show right now on that. I honestly do not know what we could say after that, because that was incredible, and that is just... no words, man. No words. Thank you. That was very well said. Dang.
You can tell I've been building that up for a while.
You have
I've been trying to.
You have been building. I've been for days.
Yeah, I've been trying to. Longer than days, weeks. I've been trying to sort of get something together, sort of worthy of. I mean, I've told you about this. I'm sort of doing some work to resubmit a documentary that I did for college about depression and mental health illnesses, and I've been trying to put something together to sort of do justice to the message I want to portray in that documentary, and I guess that's sort of the culmination of it all. And I'm going to watch this back, and I'm going to write down what I just said and sort of edit it to take out the bits that specifically reference the podcast and stuff. I'm going to use that, and it's going to be amazing, and people are going to cry, and it'll be perfect.
That was moving.
But yeah, I've been building that up for weeks. Yeah.
Like, obviously you had thought of the ideas in your head, but did you actually just do that, like, off the top of your head? But like, you obviously had thought of this stuff before ish.
Yeah, to an extent. I have like a little Word document that I realized once I felt something building that I could go into it. I have a little Word document with like little notes in and stuff that I've been trying to sort of build on, but yeah, mostly.
That's it. That's right there. That's why we started the podcast right there. For moments like that. I will actually highlight that after our broadcast is finished. And
awesome.
Because that was incredible. I honestly I don't know what to say. You have you have just put a...
I've silenced Paolo. That is the best day of my life.
You just put the guillotine down on future topics for this podcast.
Yeah, like the thing is, we've spoken about things like mental health, depression, and stuff so often, and now I feel like finally, like so many times, I come to the end of the topic and I think there's so much more I could have said. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that, and finally, I've just managed to go blah and get it.
And it was concise.
All out.
It wasn't long and drawn out. Like sometimes, like I know in the past our podcasts have been really. Like there have been parts that just drag on way too much, and then we think of stuff that we could have said, but no, I think the whole thing is now improving, and we've actually been going for 55 minutes, which is crazy. I mean,
holy crap!
Yeah, I don't want to rush things off. I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I don't know what to say after this. I know it seems silly to just end the podcast on that note, but we are.
I mean, I have other topics we could talk about, but not relating, obviously, like. But yeah, I have other stuff that we can probably talk about. Maybe let me have a look.
Things are very fluid. No, it's not even that. It's just the fact that, like, why would you want to continue on after you have said something so beautiful and profound? But on a serious note, I think that if you are watching this, you need to rewatch what Kieran said, because there are so many ways that people suffer with depression. There are so many talks and podcasts about dealing with depression. I know if you've been a viewer of the podcast in I guess recent weeks, you'll have seen the Kevin Briel Confessions of a Depressed Comic video that we watched last week. That video itself is incredible, and I mean, Kieran and I have said this multiple times, but he is somewhat of an idol for both of us because of the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the way he deals with everything. And I think that not only is what Kieran said a really, really strong way of echoing that. It's also just a different perspective. You know, with something like depression, it's not about stereotyping and baselining everything, because it is a widespread problem and everyone deals with it differently, because it's the human mind, and the human mind itself is very misunderstood or misinterpreted, and it's really kind of an unknown territory for us. And we know so much of the world, but we really don't know ourselves. And depression is one of those things that if you already don't know something about yourself, and you have this whole disease that erodes the very nature of the way you think, it's a lot to tackle. You know, people praise Jonas Salk for his cures. People praise the guy, people praise anyone who cures a disease. But when it comes to depression, I don't think you're really ever going to have any one of those people say, I found the cure for depression, because there is no one cure. And that's what's scary about it. And that's what people don't understand about it. And that's why people say there's no treatment. And that's why people say it's weird, because people cry out for attention. And that's another thing, too. The people who cry out for attention are just so evil. I mean, I get it. They're sad. They have problems in their lives. But you can't go around saying that you're depressed if you've had 2 bad days in a row at school. Like, that is awful. It makes people who actually suffer, like Kevin Briel, feel really, really, really bad about coming out with their problems. Because, you know, you look at someone who has 2 bad days at school and they're like, oh, I'm depressed, and they go through like a week and a half of feeling really, really sad, and then suddenly they're fine again. That's not depression. And I think that's what we aim to promote. And I know that Kieran knows about this, but no one else really knows about this. Somewhere along the way, because of the blog posts, because of what we've been doing and how much we hyped it up on Twitter, one of my good friends here, he's actually still in high school or college, if you're in the UK, he wanted to start a nonprofit organization and have me as a co-founder. So we're basically co-founding this nonprofit organization, very similar to Young Minds, and we're going to try and target high schools in our area and spread it around the DC area. So hopefully that'll be a success, and hopefully in the future we'll be live streaming to raise money for my personal nonprofit, which is called Mentality Over Mind, abbreviated MOM. And yeah, it's been crazy where all of this has come from. I really don't know what's going on now, because Kieran apparently can't hear me. Well, this is a struggle right now. That is awful. Anyway, technical difficulties aside, this has been an excellent podcast so
me?
far.
You want me to say something? Okay, I can say stuff. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Stream.
Strange.
I don't know what's going on right now. But I guess since we're kind of near
Sucks. I wanted to hear that. You were going on an adventure and I missed it.
My mic is really low. Oh, now it's muted. Okay. I have no idea what happened. It's really low for some reason. What the heck? I think it's my mic's fault, actually. But Kieran still can't hear me, which is the problem. God. The technical difficulties in this stream have been tremendous. Alright guys, I would hate to cut this off right now, but well, Mr. Curry, if you have anything to share it now. It'll just be, well, you share it in the chat, and then I can obviously talk about it. We can move to Skype, actually. I just watched my dad's dog eat a bunny's face off. Well, that is That is awful. That is terrible. Okay, I'll just mute my mic. Just mute your mic here. Okay.
Your line is now muted.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I hear you.
You need to turn off your mic on any meeting, by the way.
Oh, of course. I should do that. Sorry, that should
Oh
work.
my god, the echo. All right, we should do this, by the way, for future podcasts because the any meeting syncing is not that bad.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. That's no problem.
Okay, because the audio quality is
Better.
light years better.
Yeah.
And I think my mic is better now. I think the chat will agree that my mic is better. Gosh, we had great moments. And
Yeah, it was going so well. Like, any meeting just decided, no, fuck you. You did good stuff. Now you can stop there. Stop breaking the internet.
Also, in the midst of your speech, the King's speech, as I'm calling it now, she said that she wanted to be friends with you, like legitimately.
Well, that's very nice.
Friends. I actually thought she was joking, but
I would legitimately like to be friends with you too, with many of you, not all of you, not Liz. Screw Liz.
All right, I need to go yell at some telemarketers because they won't stop calling, and I need to take care of that because my mom is trying to take a nap. But you can go, and there was something. I feel like there was something you were gonna talk about, but I will be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find another topic.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, stream, for technical difficulties and other things, but you got the King's speech. You got my little mini whatever that was. I don't even know what that was, but be back in a few.
King's speech. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. Anyway, yes, so I apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know what the issue was there, but let me just do sort of a follow-up, another follow-up. We sort of did a follow-up to the stream last week, but let me just do a quick follow-up because I've just opened the email from Young Minds that they sent me, and basically what they said, and they sent it to me, and they sort of aimed it at me, but I feel like you guys need to hear this as well because it's thanks to you that we raised so much money and stuff. And basically what they said was, without your help, we would not be able to continue to provide help and support for families, improving the lives of children and young people affected by mental health problems. Your fund and awareness raising has immeasurably contributed to our work campaigning for mental health, to have parity with physical health, and to break down the stigma surrounding mental health issues. And that is what they said to me. And honestly, I feel like you guys need to hear that as well. You guys deserve to hear that because without you guys, it would never have happened. So I guess I'm going to take the opportunity just to thank you all again while Paolo is away. And Liz, I'm sorry, but it's just, it can never happen between us because you're just too dolphin, and it's not good. It's not good. Anyway, what was it? I know there was a topic I wanted to talk about, and it's really annoying me that I can't think about it now. But let's see if I can find it. Yes, okay. I've got one. And this is something that's been happening in the UK at the moment, and something that I found out because of Just Giving. They've been they've been contacting people about it because it's something that's been going on a Just Giving page. And it's another story from the UK, and what has happened, there is a young guy who lives in the UK who has been, basically he's been suffering with terminal cancer, and
oh gosh, this is really sad.
Basically, yesterday he reached out to the people that have been following his story and just said, "This is it. My right lung has collapsed, and I'm probably going to die tonight." And what happened is he started a Just Giving page, basically saying, "I have cancer. Let's see what we can do. Let's get this sort of out into the world. Let's see what we can do. See if we can get some famous people behind it. See if we can raise a decent amount of money for cancer supporting charities and stuff." And the great news is he's still alive. He messaged people this morning saying he was still alive, and I just thought I'd sort of bring sort of the power of Just Giving. It's sort of I found out this because of Just Giving, because
a great
of
website. Okay.
Yeah, and I only found out because we did our stream as well, and basically him and his friends and his family, they tried to get the story sort of out to some sort of semi-famous people, some sort of, you know, Z-list celebrities, just to try and get a little bit more money in. And eventually it was picked up by a comedian called Jason Manford, who, if you're in the UK, about outside, but he started sort of campaigning alongside this guy. He went and visited him in hospital a lot, and he got a couple of his friends in sort of like the comedy world, in the acting world and stuff, to sort of help him out. And so far, this one guy suffering with cancer, terminal illness, and he's probably going to die probably within the next few days, unfortunately. And his story has just gone
Viral.
worldwide, and so far they've raised 1.6 million pounds. And
Jesus, that is insane.
It's absolutely insane. And the comedian Jason Manford, he is still campaigning for this guy, still visiting him in hospital. He was there earlier today, is what he posted on Twitter, and he's pushing so hard to get this campaign up to £2 million before the guy Stephen, the guy who's got the illness, passes on. And I just think it really is the power. Like, we were talking about the power of the internet and stuff, and how it can have such bad effects, but at the same time it can have amazing effects, and with stuff like this. And just looking through the list of big names and stuff, like people like Simon Pegg. Yeah.
Same thing happened last year with a kid in the US.
Yeah, and it's just crazy, but it really shows sort of, yes, you have the terrible side of the internet with people sort of jumping onto music videos that are a little bit weird and thrusting hate upon them, but you also have the amazing side where things like Stephen's story, which has raised so much money for cancer research, which is absolutely amazing. And I hope next week I can bring you an update on what's going on with him, saying he's still alive. They've broken £2 million and stuff. But it really was sort of like with what we did last week. It was amazing. Like we raised a lot of money. We were really proud of what we did, and to see something basically of the same
pounds, almost £2 million. That is incredible.
2 million. And I just thought after the sadness and the sort of very hard hitting topic, I wanted something. Although it is, you know, tinged with sadness, it's a fantastic story about how amazing
humanity. That there are people out there who care. That there are people out there who want to make the world a better place still.
Definitely, and it's a really amazing story about how one person has managed to change what is their pain and ultimately their death, as it most likely will be. I mean, from what I've read about the story, that it doesn't look like there's any chance of him recovering at all, which is a real shame. But he's turned that around and raised so much money, and like we thought £750. We thought that's amazing. We're going to do so much of a difference, but nearly 2 million is just going to change the world. And honestly,
I wish depression had that kind of backing. You know, when we say that we want depression to have more, and we take shots at other diseases that have this kind of awareness, we're not saying that they should raise less money. We're just saying that depression as a disease itself should have the same level of success in terms of raising money for charity, raising money for awareness. It's just one of those things where it's like, well, where does the money go? That's that one. I just don't understand. It's just that one thing, because you have cancer research, you have AIDS research, and these are all things that produce medicines and different things to help the victims of those diseases. But when you have something like depression and mental health, people can't see where that money goes. It goes to counseling, goes to one-on-one things that help people understand themselves and get past it. And, you know, maybe it'll help with medicine and awareness, like, oh, what's awareness needed. It's silly, because if people can't see where their money is going, it's almost like they don't want to give back. And when you look at a cause like Young Minds or even other charities that are, I guess, advocates of mental health awareness, I'm not going to say only very lightly here, but only £10,000 that's the highest out of all of them, which is a lot of money and it does a lot of good. But nearly £2 million. That is almost $4 million. Close to $4 million.
Yeah, and I can't say I've got any particularly big links with stuff like cancer or anything like that, but
it's great to see. It is. No, it really is.
It is. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that we should be trying to sort of, raise money for cancer. I don't think we should be raising any less. I think it's a huge problem. We should be raising as much money as we are. I just think that mental health is just as big, if not bigger, of a problem, but it's ignored just because it's not something that we can see. It's not. You're not going to have someone who is considering suicide, in hospital, strapped to machines, going, "I could die any day now." They're just going to say, "I could kill myself any day now," and people will look at them and think that person's crazy, get them locked up. And that's the big difference. That someone suffering with something like cancer or AIDS or something, they get huge support. And just to quote that amazing piece that we showed last week
when you break your arm, everyone rushes to help you. When you say everyone rushes from depression, everyone runs away.
Yeah, and to again bring back to personal experience, I know all about that. There was someone like when I was going through my depression, there was someone who they broke their toe, and they had half their leg in a cast, which for one thing was ridiculous because it was a toe, and everyone was rushing to their aid, like, "Wow, you must be so brave, it must hurt so bad, and let me sign your cast and show my support to you." But as soon as I said to people, I'm suffering with depression,
When was that? How long ago was that? Like,
must have been, about 4 years ago.
4 or 5 years.
And
it's interesting because probably around the same time, because you were about, what, you were 14, close to 15 at the time?
I would have been 15, 15 at the time.
Yeah. I broke my arm when I was 14, and everyone rushed to help me. It was really late at night, and kids needed to get home, and it was on a school night, but I broke my arm, and people... Oh, no, actually, no, it wasn't a school night, but still, it was pretty late at night, and I broke my arm. People were like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Do you need help? Blah, 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 blah." Like, everyone just suddenly is rushing to help me, and then I went to school. It was the first day of school. I really didn't know many people, and I had a huge cast on my arm, and everyone suddenly, I say that I broke my arm, and obviously, it sucks, but it was the easiest way to get to know people and meet people, because you have this kid walking around in a giant cast, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like all the attention was on me, and obviously it felt great, not going to lie. But on the other hand, there probably were several people walking around my high school that day, depressed, and they were hurting, and they needed attention, and it's just, I can't explain it. But I would have been fine with no attention. Obviously, I broke my arm, whatever. It's not a big deal. I have a cast. Let me get over it. But when you have someone who's depressed, it's just not something that people rush around and say, "Oh, let me." What can you do? People don't understand what to do when they see a depressed person.
And to sort of put it into perspective, I was regularly talking to the student counsellor when I was at school, and I was with the student counsellor saying how I've been thinking really terrible thoughts and I feel like shit. And partway through this session, I specifically booked this session. I'd taken time out of my lunch break to go and see them just because I was having a really bad day or a bad week or something. But I specifically booked it, and then they kicked me out about 10 minutes into the session because the person who broke their toe came in and said that they were feeling really depressed because people were making fun of them.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, that was the closest I've ever come to punching someone in the face. And they literally said to me, "Look, you're here every day, or you're here every other day. You need to learn to deal with it." And they shit me out, and then they started giving this person all the attention, and I was so angry. That was, I'll be honest here, and shock horror. This is going to be like really deep into what happened. That was sort of possibly the start of one of the worst periods of my life. And I'll be honest, when I got home, because it was near the end of the day, we had a weird school schedule where lunch would finish about an hour and a half before the end. In fact, an hour before the end of the day. And so I went home after last lesson, and I did stuff to myself. Like, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I picked up a knife and I went to town. And it was all because someone thought that a broken toe was more important than my mental well-being, I guess. And I'm reminded of that day sort of every day. Like, I still have the scars on my leg. It's
That's awful, dude.
It's lucky that I was very self-conscious that I never cut anywhere that anyone would be able to see, because I was too worried that they would judge me and stuff. So I never have to worry about other people seeing the scars. But there are scars on me that I still have to this day that remind me of days like that. And it's lucky that I'm sort of in this position now where I can just look in the mirror and think, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm an awesome guy now. I have this amazing podcast. I have amazing fans, and I've come out of my. I do. I have fans.
The fans of Kieran, we bow to you.
Damn right. But yeah. Okay, I worded that badly. I'll admit. But yeah, it's like I could. I have my moment of brilliance. Okay. You can't. That was the best you're gonna get out of me. Like, it's downhill from here. But yeah, so I can look in the mirror and just think I'm this great person now. I'm much better than I used to be. I haven't considered self-harm in at least, I'd say, about 3 years now. I haven't considered suicide in about 3 years. And it's just I look at myself in the mirror now and it's like, yeah, I've got these scars, and yeah, things were shit back then, but that bitch still had a broken toe and looked like an idiot for a week. Whereas me, I'm sort of. I'm here. I have a podcast. I have friends, and it may take me an hour to take a selfie, but let's forget about that.
That's a great story. And halfway through the story, I was just thinking about. I was just getting like really, really blown away by what happened with just everything. Like, you coming back from all of that and somehow raising money for a charity that provides all that awareness, that maybe instead of a counselor saying to a student, deal with it, don't come here so much, they'll talk to them, and then that kid will go home, and instead of taking a knife to his legs, he will talk to his parents, and they'll talk about what he can do to better his life, what he can do to get over what he's feeling, or maybe they'll go see a therapist together as a family, and he'll get the help that he needs. And I don't know. The thing is, honestly, with all the money we raise, it's great. It's a lot of money, and I know how much it'll make a difference. But the thing is that we may never get to see that difference, and that's, I guess, the tough part about doing all of this, because lots of people like to see results. But everyone watching, I hope you know that you've all taken like the same kind of leap of faith that we have. That what we do here can help change the world. In a really, really cliche way, but we have to. Yeah, and I have to believe it. It's what keeps us going.
Yeah, and honestly, if in 20 years' time I find myself every few months or something going out on a stage in front of 20 people and just sort of telling my story, trying to raise awareness about how big of an issue mental health is, then I'll be happy. Because, to be honest. And it's weird me saying this because, I have so many like life ambitions and stuff, but it's weird me saying this, but honestly, making sure that mental health is treated with the same care and attention that any other illness is, it's more important to me than sort of my success in life, I guess. I would be very happy with just having a generic job, like a generic office job where I earn enough to get by, sort of thing. Mm. But if I can go out and make a difference, then I'll be happy. Because, to be honest, as much as I say, I'm stronger because of the things I went through, and I'm glad I went through what I did, because now look at me, I'm this strong person. But honestly, I would not wish what I went through on the worst of people in the world. And the sooner we can start helping people that do have to go through it, the better. Because honestly, it's a waste of life, it's a waste of potential, and it's something that, to an extent, can be avoided. Obviously, there are some people that it is a case of once they put their mind to it, there's nothing you can do about it, and that's a very tragic part of life. But the fact is, there are some people out there that can be helped, that all they need is someone to talk to, and I know that there are people out there alive because I listen to them, and I know that there are people out there who aren't because nobody else would. And it breaks my heart to think that there are people out there that feel so alone and so lost in the world that they find that there's no other way out. And you know what? Maybe I was there once upon a time, but I've had 2 friends that I spoke to about it. I had one that I mean, I've spoken about it before. One that is living successfully, and one that, in the end, it didn't end well. And honestly, I think it might have ended better if the person, if she had someone that she could, talk to a lot more, other than me, I guess.
And on the flip side of that, I think that though this is kind of the depression that this is what you went through and what your friends went through and all of that, I feel like people peg that as the only kind of depression. So people think the treatment is to, get out of the house and find friends. That's what you know what I'm saying. Like lots of people say,
yeah,
like get over it and man up. On the other side, I think that it's almost, I wouldn't say perfect because that would be a very inappropriate use of the word, but it really is just one of those things where you have that experience with the how life happens and how things can get totally blown out of proportion to the point where it becomes this disease. And I've kind of really experienced with friends who have just been diagnosed for whatever reason. Nothing that has happened, nothing really anyone said, but it just kind of happened. And I think that the medical aspect of depression, it can't be fixed by someone to talk to. The very clinical, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's just one of those things where it's just so frustrating because they could have all the support in the world, and I'm thinking of a particular person here, but he has all the support in the world. He has so many people who love him and care for him and really just want to do anything they can to make his life better because he is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And I'm sure it was like this with Kevin Briel too, who really had everything going for him, who had all of the support in his life. And it's just so hard because no matter what you do, there's always going to be that obstacle, that thing in your mind that says that you aren't yourself, and there's no way to get that out other than medication and dedication to taking that medication, as I accidentally rhyme. But
yeah, and Dark Aspect brings up a great point that because it's not physical, because you can't see it, and because it's not something that is there to be seen, something that people can't see depression, they can't see suicidal thoughts, they can't see something like that, and they think that they're just being dramatic, that it's not really there, that it's just all in their head and they can just get over it. But let me put it this way, when a young girl ends up in hospital with blood covering her body from where she's cut her wrist completely open, when someone throws themselves in front of a bus and makes their body get smashed to pieces, then tell me it's not physical.
It's just both sides of depression are what need to be brought to the forefront.
Yeah,
because I think because both involve I think this having stuff happen to you and leading into this prolonged state of sadness, which leads into depression. Then it just becomes a medical condition. And the same thing, that the medical condition, it evolves into a thing where you feel very uncomfortable talking to it. Ultimately, there are two different things that begin depression, at least in my mind. I don't know if you share the same opinion, but they all lead to the same thing, which are the same thoughts, the same behavior, the same thoughts about what to do to yourself, about what your life is. And I think that it's very hard for people to understand that there are perhaps multiple and two very different causes for something that affects way too many people and is too often ignored.
Yeah, and to sort of bring this very sort of sad topic to an end, I just want to sort of say that obviously I've spoken about how I had a friend of mine that didn't make it, and obviously that is horrific. But that person, they were an amazing human being. Like, let me put it simply, they were an inspirational person. Like, the sort of things that they went through, I'm not going to go into details because it would be disrespectful, but the sort of things they went through, and then to still, talk to me every day, help me through what I was going through, and everything, like, it was just amazing. And the stereotype that depressed people end up sitting in a dark corner on their own, trying to ignore the world because the world hates them and they hate the world back. It's wrong, because so many people that suffer with a mental health illness are truly special people with truly fantastic potential, and at the end of the day, by not raising the awareness, we are losing what could be the next big great person. And I honestly think that had my friend not unfortunately passed away, that she could have been a huge sort of famous name, household name sort of thing. Obviously, the usual, there's every chance that it couldn't have happened, whatever, like being a celebrity doesn't come overnight, but they were
on that track.
They were an inspiration to me. Like, honestly, I think back every day and I think, without this person, without her, I wouldn't be here today, for one thing, and for another thing, without this person, she taught me so much. And honestly, I think my ability to commentate and stuff, which although it wavers sometimes it can be pretty good and stuff, and yeah, and this podcast wouldn't have come without her. Let me put it that way. Like, she was the one that taught me how to sort of express myself, how it all started with writing. That's how I started originally expressing myself, and then I moved into YouTube and commentating and stuff. And she was the one that really got me into writing, taught me how to. I mean, the stuff I wrote, it was dark stuff. Like, you do not want to be reading that. It was horrid, but it was really expressive. It was really detailed, and I guess I just want to get the point out there that if you see someone suffering with depression, don't automatically assume that they're a mental case that needs to be locked away, because they could be the next big thing. They could be amazing. And honestly, I think people that do suffer with depression, a lot of them, and I'm talking a big amount, do genuinely have a lot of potential, and I guess they just don't see it in themselves. I guess that's the thing.
And that's the thing, I guess, needing people to help you see that in yourself. That's one thing. And there you have it, right there. That's the reason Kieran does this whole thing, and just us being friends and the whole history behind that as well. That's why I do this, and obviously it's a big part of my life in terms of how many people I care about who are affected by it. So there it is, I guess. This is kind of a follow-up to why we did all that.
Yeah.
Because we were never really that clear about it. I mean, I made a video on my channel the day, like 2 hours before we started streaming, so that wasn't probably the best idea. So this is really the podcast where we explain why we do this. And I don't know about you, but I think we have a direction in terms of where we want to go with everything that we do. And I know that we're kind of, I want to say, burned out on gaming and streaming, but I also think that it would be a great way to return to our roots, but do it in the way that we have learned how to do over these 18 episodes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to throw back to episode 2. We had a conversation about this near the end of episode 2 on our podcast, about how the true definition of hell would be, on the last day you have on Earth, the person you became meets the person you could have become. And what this show is about, what it developed into because of quotes like that, because of conversations we had with the very few viewers who stuck around to watch it in the early days, it has become one of those things where we want those two people to meet at the end of our lives, and it'll just be like looking in a mirror, because we want to make sure that whatever we do for Young Minds, whatever we do in the name of Across the Pond, is something that we would never regret, to make everything worth it. You know, we spend hours and hours, we spent hundreds of hours, maybe even close to 2,000 hours playing zombies and talking and doing just mindless things, but to me, this is all worth it now. You know, everything that we've ever done. Like, this is what it's about, and I think that it's time that people knew how seriously we took this, because I feel like not quite that many people grasp how much this means to us, how much we've put into this, and how much it really makes us proud that we're able to do all of this.
Definitely. And let me put it this way: for when I was looking through charities, like we had a few charities in mind, the sort of thing we wanted to do when we did the 24-hour stream. And when I saw sort of the Just Giving page for Young Minds, and I was just like, this has to be it. And honestly, I think this show, it came from, like, it started off, we were discussing, like, yeah, we both do these commentaries about life and stuff, and we like it and we enjoy it, and it's like, yeah, it's great and stuff. We should do this podcast, and it started sort of, we could start changing a few lives with this podcast, and then it started getting, really serious. And when we did the 24-hour stream, at the end, I mean, obviously you guys wouldn't have seen it because we stopped streaming after 24 hours, but I'd say when I hit around 24 and a half hours, so about half an hour after we finished, I was in bed, and it just hit me. We are making a difference. There was something that Paolo said sometime between when we finished and now, or a few days ago. He said, we have potentially saved a life with that stream, maybe more. And that is why we do this podcast, because we know we have the ability and potential to change people's lives, to save people's lives, and to really make a difference in this world. And if by the time we hit episode 1,000 we've still only changed the lives of 20, 30 people, three people,
one person even.
Yeah, even one person, then it's been a success, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do with this show. And
the thing is, you don't even need to be good at what we're decent at, Like, we can just talk for a long time, and we can say things, and we know how to make sentences flow together in a way that doesn't make us sound like blenders. And that is really all that it is. And I will fix my mic for the next episode. I am sorry. I am trying out a new setup, because this headset is death to my ears. Though probably now, like, my voice is death to your ears, because the mic is, like, right here. It's like, bleh. Yeah. Sorry. That was for you, Mai. That was for you. Just for you. Alright, guys. On that note, we should probably take a bow.
Yeah. I'm glad we didn't stop the show when we had the technical difficulties. Yeah. Like, we went on for like another 40 minutes or something, like half an hour or something after. And I think it's good that we finally showed our true colors, our true motivations behind the podcast, because I don't think everyone quite understood just why we were doing what we were doing. It's not a bit of fun to us. It is obviously fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing the show. It's awesome. But
like, what I'm doing here, I want to do for the rest of my life in some capacity, and I know you do too. So this isn't just some podcast. It's life. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
There's all the cheese. All the cheese is gone. There you go. All right, guys. We will see you in the next one. He has been King Kieran, also known as Dark Jolteon. I have been Paulo, aka Educated, aka I Can't Spell. And until next week for episode 19 of Across the Pond, we will see you when we see you.